Hello, welcome, and evening. This is another show on Egal's show. I am taking over. I am going to host it for a moment. Child duties, being a parent, kids cry, they wake up at the most inconvenient times, it looks like. But it is deadline day, and this is a deadline day special. And I don't really know how to feel about it at the moment. I don't know whether we should be positive, whether we got a good core squad, or whether we should be disappointed. But that's what we're going to get into. We're going to talk about what's unfolded. Obviously, it's the dying embers, it's the business end, if you want to call it, of the transfer window. And let's see what happens. Obviously, there's been a lot of head loss moments in the last sort of 48 hours, which is to be expected with the lack of business that Arsenal are looking to do. But without further ado, let me introduce at least one of the panelists of today. Dio, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's been a crazy day. It's been a crazy day, and the time difference for me is crazy because like you guys are the tail end of the day, and my day is still like 1:30, right? So to me, it's like it's still midnight, but then I remember Jesus Christ, like it's not. It's like it's like 5 more hours. By 6 p.m. my time will be done. It's frustrating, to be honest, because you're like what are we doing? Well, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. A few more hours, you never know. We've done something silly like this in the past where we did with Thomas Partey and what's his name, Tomiyasu. So you never know. You never know. We never know.
Yeah,
Uh
I mean, we did a similar thing with Mesut Ozil, left it to the last moment. I mean, there was a lot of talks leading up to the deadline day that were looking to
yeah,
bring in a superstar signing. No one knew the name until the last moment. This is before social media frenzies, let's say,
frenzies.
happened.
Yeah, yeah. I remember
Um,
that. I remember that. And for AD to say, look, don't worry, fans, you'll be happy at the end of the window. There's something like let's wait and see what he means by that. I'm happy with the. I know Ramsdale is out now, but I'm happy with what's his name, Neto coming in as a backup goalkeeper. I think that's a prem proven keeper that at least knows the Premiership and would be a good backup for like cup games and league games. I would have been happier if we could have kept Ramsdale, but we Ramsdale is he's better than a number two. So made some money off him, let him go. That's good. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But so far, so good. I will still score this transfer from me so far at this point. I'll score it a 7 out of 10. Now, if they get me a striker before the end of the window at midnight, then I'll score it a 9 out of 10. Then I'd say they did very well. But right now, so far, I
we'll
still
get
think,
into the finer details. Let me just introduce some of the chats here. Liza, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Thompson, as always, you're going to be on one today, but we still welcome your criticism. I hope you're doing well as well. Let's see who else is here. Skinner, I think this is the first time I'm seeing you on the chat, so welcome you there. Mikey, obviously a regular. Big GZ. Don't know, it sounds familiar, but welcome to the chat. Um, for those who are asking, right, Igales, he is on his way. He's just got daddy duties, Maybe that's what Edu's being distracted with as well, without making any transfers happen. But hey, we'll find out what the reasons are there. Abdi's here. G Star, as always, is here as well. Robert, now welcome, guys. Do get your thoughts in the comments. If you've got any questions to ask us as well, we'll be more than welcome to answering them. But let's actually kickstart with the first topic. What is this new signing curse that we seem to be having? First, it was Urian Timbers with an ACL. Granted, we got to see him for a game before he got injured. This one, Big Gabby giving him the Arsenal welcome in the Rondo. Apparently, there's something happened where he went in for a tackle and fell on him. But Diamond, what's your thoughts on this Merino injury? Is it what some people think is a big brain move? He was never going to start tomorrow, so Arteta's keeping him out of the international duties, or do you actually think something happened here?
so I think what most people don't realize, right? I mean, the way Arteta sounded about it, he said for a few weeks, which is like 2-3 weeks, whatever the case is. These guys are assets to the club. A fracture could easily not be like a broken bone. It could just be literally like a crack. That they just need to make sure that it's so when it's still reported as a fracture. I don't know the extent to the injury, but it doesn't sound like something that will take him. It doesn't sound like something that he's out for like half the season. If it was, then there'll be a bigger report about it, like Mourinho injured for till December or something. They would give you like a rough estimate, but a few weeks, yeah. So do we have a curse for like our new players getting injured? It's just been Urian Timber and Merino. It's not like we've had a history before this where our new signings get injured. So yeah, I can't really I can't really uh I'm unhappy about it because of course we need everybody fit. It's the beginning of the season, but they also need to chill out in training, man. Like, how are you tackling that hard and falling on somebody and fracturing their shoulder? Like, you need to chill out in training. Like, do that on the pitch when you get on the pitch. Remember what's his name for Liverpool when he got tackled by Bukayo Saka and he was out.
Oh yeah.
But he bumped into Klopp as well. What's his name again? I keep anyway forget. I don't remember. Anyway, but do that on the pitch like that, but don't do that in training. So yeah.
No, I mean Gabriel's done this before, hasn't he? When Jesus was announced that he's returned from his injury, and we've seen that picture of him going in hard on a tackle. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I don't know what he does. He needs to tame it in. I understand the idea of mentally wanting to play to the same intensity as playing in a match, but obviously with the Mikel Merino, it is a big bum because at the end of the day, we want to see these players play, especially someone like Mikel Merino, who we think is going to unlock the likes of Martinelli. But thankfully, we do have an international break coming up. From the signs of what Arteta's saying, it may just be kind of a, when you sleep on your arms weird, or when you've it feels like one of those ones where it may just been an awkward fall, and it's probably just a bit strained at the moment. But hopefully, it's not a long-term injury. But we do have a super chat. I might want to read it before I say anything, but okay, I'm not going to use the words in there, but Cronkies need to go. Take Edu with them, which I agree with. What a crap window. We're literally worse off than last season. We win nothing, and I can promise you that. Andy, firstly, thank you for the super chat. It does massively help the channel, so do appreciate that. But Dio, do you have any responses to this?
No, thanks for the super chat. I just want to say that it's weird how fans don't literally dive into what is really needed. I'm not saying we don't need a striker. We do need a striker. But if you look again at last season, we lost the league by one game. One game. We win one game or we draw two games. We tie the league and we win the league last season. It was either drawing two games or winning one game, right? Those were the options we had for us to win the league last season. And that's the honest truth. It wasn't about anything. You can go look at the data. City did not win more games than us. City won 28. We won 28. Arsenal won. Arsenal drew. We drew 5 and lost 5.
Are you not concerned because we have actually stripped us? But it's not a case.
I know. So this is what I want to say. So this is what I want to say. So where we were strongest last season was defense, and then we strengthened in our defense again this season. Timber's coming. Calafiori is coming, which means that we're looking at those type of games where we're not able to score, not to lose them this season. In those games like the Aston Villa game, where if we had tied those two games, we would have literally won the league. So we strengthened in our strength, which is the one thing I've noticed that they've done this season. Now, can we score goals? Yes, we can in multiple ways. Arsenal is not really a team that that Arteta has designed for a main striker, sadly. And I think he should do that. I think he should get a main striker. But the way he's designed the team right now, the defense contributed 15 goals last season. The defenders contributed 15 goals last season, right? So Arsenal is the team that spreads their goals across the all 10 players. Literally, there was a game we played where all 10 outfield players almost scored, if I'm not mistaken. But what was all 10 outfield players had a shot on target last season. There was a game that Arsenal played where all 10 outfield players had a shot on goal, like literally. So my thing is, we strengthened where we were stronger. We do need somebody in attack because we saw that in Nketiah now. We need somebody to come in there and fill that spot up. We need somebody who's a prolific striker. I totally agree. But we are not, right now, we are not far away from City to the point where it's like, if you don't have a striker, you can't make it because we score differently. We're not a team that heavily relies on Haaland or Ollie Watkins. Like, sadly, that's not the team we are. Sadly, that's not the team we are. And until people understand that we play differently from other teams, if you notice, we no longer play exciting football, Arsenal. We just play very pragmatic football now. Unlike 2 seasons ago, where we were very exciting. Now we're just very pragmatic. We go in there, we keep the ball, we hold the ball, we suffocate them, we get a goal, and we come back and we rely on our defenders. We're like, all right, defense time. Off the ball, we're literally one of the best teams in the way we position ourselves. I just believe that if we can replicate the amount of goals we scored last season, which is 91 goals, right? If we can replicate that this season with a little more, and even if we don't replicate 91 goals, if we reduce the amount of goals scored against us, again, last season we had the least shots created, chances for chances where teams had the least shots against us, apart from being the best defense.
But can I dispute this one? Like, just to play like devil's advocate here. I think more of the concern, it isn't necessarily that we've improved in certain areas, and I do agree that, we have solidified our defense further with even someone like a Mikel Merino solidifies our defensive abilities to kind of keep the play, obviously pressing up top a bit more and defending from the front. But I think where the concern for a lot of people has come in is from the false promises and the way that the window has transpired. Because the way I see it personally is, I agree with everything you've said. I do think the signings themselves, as in Calafiori coming in and Mikel Merino, do fill massive gaping holes in the squad. Now that if Jurrien Timbers does need to, nurse his injury, or we need to, let's say, take him out, we're not relying on another injury-prone player in Tomiyasu in those kind of games against Liverpool, the Man Cities. When we go into the Champions League, we've got PSG obviously to play. They're going to have tricky wingers. We've got someone like Calafiori who can play there instead of Akivio coming in, and obviously Zinchenko can then come out of those games. But the problem I think a lot of people are having is the fact that we let ESR go, we've let Eddie Nketiah go, or pending to go, and we've let obviously Fabio Vieira go on loan, and it seems like we've kind of reduced the squad strength. And I know people are going to say the count was going to be to this, that they didn't really play many minutes, but the problem is that we haven't even bought an attacker in to actually say, do you know what, okay, we've got players who can give the likes of Bukayo Saka a rest, or take Martinelli out of the squad, or maybe even
these are the same fans who, in one breath, I do hear them. We've moved ESR on, we've moved Eddie Nketiah on, we've moved Fabio Vieira off on loan, we've shipped out a lot of players that these are the players that we complained about last season. These are the players that we said were not good enough last season. And the club has gone ahead and done that. We brought in Mikel Merino. And these same fans are the same ones who shouted, Ethan Nwaneri, give the youngsters a chance. Now we've brought the youngsters in. We have them on the bench. And they're still lamenting about, nobody's... Look, Ethan, he's young. Just like we saw Bukayo Saka rise from being a left back to being a right winger in one season. Like, he went from left back. We don't know what plans they've been working with these youngsters. So I don't want to sit here and criticize without knowing all the information. My thing is, I wish we could just go ahead and get a striker before midnight today. Like, just go ahead and get me a striker, and then I will be quiet about everything else. The midfield, I will not complain, because Fabio Vieira is out on loan. I will not, because I was one of the people saying, give the youngsters the chance. These are talented youngsters. We're losing our youngsters. We lost Amari Hodgkinson. We all complained. We lost Charlie Patino. We all complained. We lost this person. We all complained. And here we are now, when they're giving the youngsters, Miles Lewis-Kelly and Ethan Nwaneri are on the list of teams to be in the senior team for the season. And we're saying, well, we don't have anybody to cover midfield to help on the right-hand side. We actually do. But they're youngsters. Are we willing to trust the process that we have been talking about ever since? No. Most fans just talk out of their ears. It's like they want a squad like 50 players of their own personal choices, and if it's not who they get, then it's a shit window.
But does the depth not concern you? Because I know, Daya, you want to be, obviously, I know you want to try and back the club as much as you can, but I think critiquing the way that we've gone about things, and obviously we can move on to the false promises after this point as well, but I am concerned. I understand your point of, like, Smith Rowe barely played, Vieira, and all of these sort of players we wanted, like, or a lot of the fan base wanted gone. But I am concerned that we've kind of stripped ourselves to a point where a single injury can ruin the squad to some degree, because
which is why I said I think a striker is needed, and I agree with you, Souls. I'm not even look, from the very beginning I did say we do look thin. If we get a striker, I said I'd keep quiet, because I know we need a striker. And the reason I say we need a striker and not really a winger is, for me, Gabby Jesus can play on the right with Bukayo Saka. If you bring in a striker that is better than Havertz, if you right now go and break the bank and just trigger Victor Yokeresh's release clause right now, and you bring him in, and Gyökeres starts up front, and Havertz comes off the bench, and Jesus can play on the right because he's also injury prone. We know that he may not play the whole season, but at least when he's fit, Bukayo Saka can rest. We can play him on the right. On the left, we can still see what we're working with Martinelli and Leandro Trossard. Trossard is firing right now. Martinelli will need to get his game up. But at least we then know that front line, we have 2 for 2 in every position. Now, if we come back to the midfield, I can't complain about the midfield because I asked for youngsters to be given a chance. Ethan Nwaneri and Marv Lewis Kelly, who is being played as the left back and inverted to midfield, are being given a chance right now. We have Mikel Merino, we have Jorginho, we have Thomas Partey, we have Martin Odegaard, and we have Declan Rice in midfield. So at this point, I can't even complain about that midfield. In defense, where we were strongest last season, we have shored it up again. We now have Timber back and Calafiori. So for me, I think that the major thing is just that one striker up front that is better than Kai Havertz. That's the thing for me. Like if you do that before midnight, then great. You know, I would give it I would score it a 9 out of 10 window at that point. But so far, it's that one injury fear that, like you said, that's the thing that everybody but I don't know what the future is. We had the one injury fear last season. None of our defenders had an injury. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. We can have that fear all we want. If it doesn't happen, right? If it doesn't happen, then so.
Deo, it's getting worse, right? They're also trying to get rid of Reece Nelson.
Then we don't know what their plan is now.
I mean, I am going to say on this Reece Nelson thing, for me, this has got to mean Sterling is getting done. I look, there's a level of incompetency that I can bear. And I cannot believe that if the club let Reece Nelson go, that they don't have a plan to bring anyone in. Because that would be the height of incompetence and negligence.
I honestly, I wouldn't be shocked to see a big striker come in because
not a striker. I'm talking Sterling.
I'm saying not even Sterling. I'm saying the Sterling deal because I'll take the Sterling deal on the loan and a salary reduction, no money involved. Chelsea need to get rid of him. We'll pay his salary, but Sterling needs to take his salary reduction and on the loan.
Got an update. This guy's saying that Arsenal are in talks with Raheem Sterling. We already know that on loan, but optimistic around this early on.
There was a picture of him at Arsenal at the Emirates yesterday.
So to break down the whole Chelsea to Sterling thing, because I've spoken to a lot of people who are involved in this deal as well. And from my understanding is this, Arsenal's perspective is the player is no longer wanted at Chelsea. Obviously, we've known that Todd Bowley and Enzo Maresca have come out and said that this player isn't going to get minutes. And he's obviously been exiled. Due to that reason, we're not willing to pay a fee. Now, what Chelsea have said is that we don't want to let the player go for free. We don't want to just mutually terminate the contract and pay out what we need to pay out, which I believe works out between 40 to 70 million pounds, depending on who you listen to. So for Chelsea, that's a significant payout that they need to make. So what the compromise Chelsea are willing to make is a loan deal. Like let's structure a loan deal where we pay parts of his wages and you guys pay what you wanted to pay. But I feel like where the deal is being miscommunicated and where it's becoming a bit tricky is getting that overall package. Arsenal have said to Chelsea, this is what we're willing to spend and this is what we want to pay on wages, but Chelsea aren't willing to come to that compromise. So I feel like this is where it's going to get really tricky to get this deal done. Now it's over to Chelsea to either accept our demands or they hold on to the player.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Raheem Sterling as a backup with the experience that he has is not a horrible thing if we're not paying for him. My thing is just loan.
It's not as ambitious as we thought we were going to be.
No, but here's the thing, Igal, if you're bringing him off the bench.
At this point, we're desperate. I get it.
No. I keep saying the word. It's not. Look, you can't call. 2 seasons ago, Raheem Sterling, you still rated him before he went to Chelsea. Let's stop this revisionist history. People like to sit down here and say, that Raheem Sterling is finished. They said that about Kai Havertz. He's finished. Like, how do you also recognize that there is context around the club that he was at? Everybody in Chelsea was crap, except Cole Palmer, who stood out.
But Sterling,
one second. This is Tadeo. Let me read out the super chat. Big up. You guys already read the first one, right?
Yes, we've picked them up. This is
big up AMD for the super chats. 2 super chats in a row. I really do appreciate it helping out the channel. And make sure everyone, you guys do hit that like button. It's absolutely free and it helps out the channel massively. I need you guys to do that right now while you guys are here. We don't need no freeloaders today. 250 of you guys already. Deo, you are a serial optimist. I myself, I'm more realist. And realistically, there is no way we can compete on all fronts. Okay, I get it. Our squad is too thin, and we fall short yet again. Kroenke and Edu out.
All right, let me AMD. Thank you for the super chat, and I will address something again. you need to stay in the pocket of the conversation that we're talking about. If you go out of that pocket and expand it and kick the bucket down the road, it makes it harder to understand what we're saying or what I'm saying. I am not being optimistic. I didn't say we're going to I never did I say we're going to compete on all fronts. I simply said, now you are talking about competing on all fronts. That's a different conversation about having a squad to compete on in all 4 tournaments. That's a totally different conversation. I'm not having that conversation. I'm having a conversation about the squad that we need right now to be better than Man City. I said we lost by what? 1 game last season. If we had tied 2 games, we would have won. I'm talking about a squad that can actually go on to win that 1 or 2 extra games against Man City in the EPL. If you want to talk about having competing on all fronts, that's a totally different conversation. We're not ready for that this season. We probably need 3-4 more players to be able to compete on all fronts. So let's not be disingenuous about what someone is saying. What I said is, based on last season, what we need to do is win a game or 2 more than City this season. And do we have the squad to be able to do it? Yes, because we score differently from City. We don't depend on a striker. Do we have enough in the squad? No, we don't. I said we need a striker up front that is better than Kai Havertz, and I say it again, so that Kai becomes the striker that comes off the bench. That's what I said. So yeah, that's what being realistic is. There's no optimism. I'm not hoping and finger crossing and praying. Let's stay in the pocket of the conversation. Thank you for the super chat, AMD.
Well, no, again, AMD, I do appreciate it, but obviously I'm going to bring it back into the Raheem Sterling because obviously we were speaking on it before the super chat. And one of the things that I wanted to point out, because I do think there's a massive outrage and head loss and a bit of an emotional response to the whole Raheem Sterling situation. Let's not act like, Raheem Sterling in his first season at Chelsea didn't actually play well, because he did. He played well. I'm not saying he played brilliantly or out of his skin, but you've also got to understand the situation and the environment that's created at Chelsea as well. Like the same way, like, as you mentioned, Kai Havertz, when we moved him to the 9, I feel like that's when we got the best out of him. But a lot of people were against that signing as well. And I told them, look, there's a reason why we brought him in. And but the reason why we're bringing in someone like Raheem Sterling is to be a backup. And for the way that we're looking to do this deal is on a season-long loan. That's perfect. We don't outlay any money. We don't take any of the risk. And if we don't want him, the player goes after a season. And that gives us the funds to go next season and actually bring a big target in. But Dale, I think you got cut off when you were talking about Raheem Sterling.
Oh, no. I was saying that Raheem Sterling... So here's the thing about it. I don't want Raheem Sterling, right? Personally, I wouldn't have gone for him. But I've seen that one thing I can point at is last season, for example, we wanted Mikel Merino. We had Leandro Trossard as our second person on the list. And we went for the second when Mikel Merino's deal fell through. A lot of players that we want as our first choice last season that we didn't get, we went for the second best that we could get. We brought in Jorginho. Everybody complained, but he did a good job with Rice. We did not win anything, and that's sad and annoying that we did not win anything. But for me, it's a case of, okay, now we know that on the list of people that we wanted this season, we've not been able to get them. We know that Nico Williams is who Arsenal really wanted. But Nico Williams doesn't want to budge. And fans make it seem like the club can do everything and anything within their part. The player doesn't want to leave. There's nothing you can do about it. So if we're going to settle for anybody, at least, anybody, it has to be someone that has the experience in the Premiership and is ready to hit the ground running. And it's a backup player. This is not like he's not coming in to be a first-team player. Would you rather Nelson comes off the bench or Raheem Sterling comes off the bench? And like I said, the context around the club that he was at before is Chelsea was a whole mess. 6 managers in 2 years. I mean, like, explain how you want the player to be settled, no matter how good they are. Cole Palmer, who happens to be a unicorn, shows up there and carries the whole team on his shoulder. That's what I call a unicorn player. Those are players that come once in a blue moon. The Hazard type players that just can carry a team. So if they didn't have Cole Palmer, they were dead in the water because the whole club was a mess. So to put it on Raheem Sterling and say he's finished just sounds silly. I think that him as a backup, if these are the options available to us, him as a backup is not a bad idea. If it's for 1 season loan, boom, we'll take it.
So we have had a massive Oni bomb, as a lot of people have mentioned, and I have gone to check as well. So Raheem Sterling to Arsenal looks like it may be proceeding. So Raheem Sterling, before the transfer window closed, and now actively working on the move for a 29-year-old if a deal can be struck. So it hasn't really changed from what we already know, but it looks like Arsenal are now actively looking to get this signing done. So yeah, let's just wait and see. Let's wait and see.
Because remember the Leandro Trossard signing? People head loss. Now you hear them saying, start Trossard over Martinelli. Start. And I don't hear them saying, oh, Arteta and Ada, you did well for getting Leandro Trossard in. I don't hear anybody saying that right now. They're not saying well done. They were screaming head loss then. Now Leandro Trossard is balling. The same thing with Kai Havertz. And my point is this: I would rather somebody else than Raheem Sterling. But if I need to settle for Raheem Sterling, there's some good traits that I can point at. He's worked with Mikel Arteta before. Mikel Arteta knows the player. So it's not going to be too difficult to get the best out of him or whatever it is that we need him to do. To do a job, stay in the position, overlap, cross the ball in for the 20 or 30 minutes that you're on the pitch, feed the ball to the players who need to score and let them score. And if you get a chance to score yourself. That's my thing. So for me, it's like the positives. He's worked with Mikel Arteta before. He's played in the Premiership. He's a 4-time Premiership winner, so he knows what it takes, at least mentally, right? He's played at Liverpool, played at Man City, played at Chelsea. He's played at big clubs, so he's not adverse to understanding how to adapt. Does he have a bad behavior off the pitch? No, we don't hear anything bad about Raheem Sterling. So what are we complaining about if he's a backup player? He's 29. He's very experienced. Leandro Trossard is 29. All this noise that we're all making, Leandro Trossard is also 29. Start him over Martinelli. But look at them. So all of a sudden now, Raheem Sterling is too old and finished to be a backup. I just don't understand it. I wouldn't. He's not my first choice. But if you're looking at context, this is the tail end of the window. Do we need somebody? Yes, we do. Do we need bodies? We need bodies. Okay, so get somebody who has a bit of experience, worked with the manager before, if that's what's available, and next to nothing for the price. If it's to hold up the team till January, where there's what you need available, then fine. But it is what it is, so.
Yeah, final thoughts from myself, from Raheem Sterling. I think when we're looking at it, look, we also have to just take into consideration where we're at in the transfer window as well. Obviously, the signings that we wanted to happen, like the Nico Williams, the Gikores, the Seskos, haven't materialized for whatever reason. Obviously, we won't ever know the reasons behind why these transfers failed or why they didn't materialize, or maybe we're just never in for them. Same with Victor Osimhen, the same with the Ivan Toney is probably the only one where we do know the concrete reasons to why that didn't happen. But when it comes to Raheem Sterling on a season-long loan, we've got to be objectively looking at that deal and saying, do you know what? It doesn't ruin our transfer plans in the future either. But what we do is we fill a gaping hole in this squad in someone who's going to bring experience, someone who's been in a winning formula, who's been in the camps of Man City, where they have won a Premier League, they have won the FA Cups, and also it allows both sides to be rested. So if we need to bring in a left winger, Sterling can do that. If we need to bring in a player for someone like Bukayo Saka to be rested, he's someone that could come in. And let's not kid ourselves for a moment. If we saw Raheem Sterling playing against Ipswich, are we going to be like, nah, this is rubbish?
Bro, updates. We got some updates. So I don't know if you guys ran through it. David Onstein just gave an update.
Yeah, I didn't share my screen, but yeah, I've read that out.
Yeah, David Onstein basically giving us an update. This, you want to know something? This does not satisfy me, but it's something. We needed something. We cannot afford to let all these guys leave and not bring anybody. That would have been negligence. Bare minimum.
My thing, like I said, Igel, my thing is we left it too late in the first place, so, and that's time has gone. This is the crunch time. So my question is
partially the reason why we left it late. We wanted a loan.
Listen, yeah, I don't even care what the reasons are anymore, because those reasons.
I agree with you.
Those reasons are gone. Like we're talking about, we have a few more hours. So when people are complaining about a signing like Raheem Sterling, who I still think can do something off the bench, I'm not saying he's who I want. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, bro. I'm not saying that's who I want. I'm just saying this is where I'm at right now. It's like you telling me when I'm driving, right? I'm almost out of gas. And then someone says, I will give you 5 gallons on the roadside to get you further, to get you to the next gas station where you can fill up your tank. And I say, whoa, I should have bought gas 20 miles ago, 20 kilometers ago. And then I'm mad at myself and I don't take the 5 gallons. That's silly of me. I'm making myself fall short. I'm like, if we have Raheem Sterling playing the League Cup games so that Bukayo Saka can rest for the Premiership games and the Champions League games, I don't see anything. If we have Gabriel Jesus playing that side and Raheem Sterling playing on the left, so we can rest Leandro Trossard and rest Bukayo Saka. But I still think that the most important position outside getting a winger would have been an attacker, because if we brought in a striker, what would happen is we can then move Gabby Jesus to the right. Remember, Leandro Trossard can play across the front three. That's another thing that people forget. He can play on the right, on the left. We've seen Martinelli play on the right a couple of games. We've seen them test that out, right? So we know that our forward line are interchangeable. The thing about my fear is the injury, like you said, Sauls. One injury now can derail us. So bringing in a player who is available, doesn't have mad injury record like that, in the last minute where we have no choices, it is. I mean, are we not going to get a goalkeeper because we didn't get the second goalkeeper we wanted, and we're going to ask Raya to keep for all the 60 games we're going to play? That's, yeah, we need to plan ahead, but sometimes your plans don't work. If it doesn't work, are you going to not do anything about it? This is why you need a plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. And if you just have to figure out that things don't work according to how you plan sometimes, even when you've put in all the right things. If it doesn't, then you got to find a way out. You got to find the way out. And that's my thing. So when people are having head loss and losing their mind, I'm upset at the club for not doing business early. I've criticized them for that. I've criticized them for the way they've handled the transfer. I've criticized them for, how they've gone about it. But I've also praised them for some of the transfers that they did and the positions that they filled, because we needed those positions filled. I feel strongly, again, that if we hadn't conceded to Aston Villa in 2 games, we win the league last season. We played better. We played better. We did not score. We did not take our chances. We were not clinical enough. We were crap in the final third. And then we went and shot the goalpost and let them score again. So.
I think obviously this kind of like perfectly moves us into the conversation that I really wanted to have as well, because there is a lot going around on Twitter and obviously throughout the transfer window of a comment being made by Edu Gaspar to be patient and you'll be excited by the end of the window. Now, for me, if I'm being honest, I'm not saying I don't like the signing of Raheem Sterling. I think it's fine if that's who we bring in. I'm content with it. But this idea of like being excited and these sort of, let's say, the false promises that we've been promised that we're going to be competing and we're going to go ahead. Now, my viewpoint is this: I don't blame this on the Cronkies personally, because from information that I've been given is that the Cronkies have made a significant amount of money available without even selling players. The reason for wanting to sell players is more on the optics and to be able to reserve player value. So what I mean by that is this: when we look at the Aaron Ramsdale situation as a whole, regardless of whether we think that the club have dealt with it right or not, this is the factual reasons behind it. Now, what I'm going to say is this, is that Aaron Ramsdale came in, he was PFA goalkeeper of the year, he kept the clean sheets, he kept us in a title challenge. The season following, we got a David Raya on loan, and that kind of depleted the value that Aaron Ramsdale had, because the season that he did have, and on the back of that, he then obviously depleted his value to the point where we're struggling to get 25 to 30 million pounds for him. Now, what the club have intentionally wanted to do is, if we're not going to use the players and we're not going to be able to increase their values, we need to sell them. That's the idea behind the selling of these players. It's not necessarily to create funds. So there has been money been available from the Cronkies from the very get-go to go and get these signings done. And we know this evidently from previous signings. Like if you look at Leandro Trossard, it only pivoted, but the Cronkies said, we can sanction that Mudryk deal. If that's what you need is more money, go get it done. Edu and Arteta both said, no, the deal doesn't make sense. Let's go get Leandro Trossard. So we do know money has been available and the Cronkies are willing to spend money. It's just whether Edu and Arteta can agree that the player and the deal is fine. More so Edu, because that's his limit. So when it comes to the whole situation, that's why I'm more heavily blaming Edu. But on the same side of that, Edu did make the promise. Arteta hasn't. Arteta has never come out to the media, all these press conferences, and sat there and said that we're going to go and do this. We're going to go make player signings. He's kind of been a bit more reserved on that, which makes total sense because he needs to also keep the optics of we're not desperate to sign players. But when Edu's coming out and saying be patient and wait till the end of the window, that's when really I have a big problem. Zubair, you're saying breaking news. Do you know what the breaking news is, or who might have done it? But yeah, that's what I wanted to, in summary, say. But Daya, what's your thoughts on the?
I hear you. I hear. Like I feel this. I have the same sentiments when it comes to making a promise and breaking the promise. But what can I do when you've broken the promise? All this noise that people are making as regards to, oh, it's about winning. Yes, it's about winning. But I want to win consistently. I don't want to win one-off. And if they're getting it wrong now, I've asked this question before. This window, do we have a first team 11 that can go on to compete? Yes.
1 second, Dio. Breaking news. Yeah. Arsenal for Raheem Sterling has advanced. Personal terms, I'm hearing from Ben Jacobs, and everything has been agreed because he wants to stay in London. It's just a matter of if a deal can be approved.
You're saying Dan Jacobs?
Ben Jacobs, not Dan Jacobs. Ben Jacobs.
I'm right here. Give me a second, guys.
Ben Jacobs is really close with Chelsea, so that makes sense.
Yeah, it says Arsenal are advancing in talks with Chelsea over a loan move for Raheem Sterling, as revealed. Sterling is keen on the move for the sporting and family reasons. He is now. Oh, you've got it. Yeah, he's now spoken to Mikel Arteta. Could prove a deal that suits all parties. So it is looking more positive, and it looks like it's just a matter of Chelsea and Arsenal now. It's not a Sterling thing. This is just Chelsea and Arsenal need to agree something. Yeah. Hey, Gremlin, I'll happily take Mudryk too. Don't you worry about that one.
Bro, I'm going to have to go deal with this kid. You can hold it down to 8:30, right? My wife's
go for it. Go for it. You do what you need to do. So yeah, a guy's got daddy duties, isn't it? That's just how it is nowadays. It's but yeah, I mean, look, Raheem Sterling, obviously for a loan move, I feel like, you know what, that's the perfect thing for us because it's a no risk, high reward situation. It's similar to Federico Chiesa going to AMD. I will speak to Igal about it. He's a bit busy, so he might not see a message, but just remind me at the end of the stream and I'll get that over to him. But yeah, what's everyone's thoughts on Sterling as a loan move? I know people are going to talk about the quality of a player and everything like that, but I am intrigued to hear what your opinions on just a loan move. Because for me, if we're doing it with a no obligation, it's an option to buy situation, and parts of it are, I mean, unless you're hearing something different, Trossardino, I mean, most of the journalists are saying it's going to be a loan move more than anything. So I don't know. Has anyone got anything that suggests it is a permanent deal? Because Ben Jacobs is saying it's a loan move. All right, okay, wait. I mean, if anyone's got anything different, that's fine. I'm just going off of what I'm reading here, but yeah, like for me, a season-long loan, I'm completely fine with. I mean, obviously, all these sort of stipulations and the bonuses and obligations and options may come out later if there are any to be done. But as it stands, if it's a straight loan move, parts of the wages are covered, we pay parts of the wages, I'm actually perfectly fine with this. So we've got a few comments here, and Raheem will bang at Arsenal. No, I think he will bang. Personally, I think for a backup option for someone to just come in for Bukayo Saka or on that left-hand side or whatever the case may be, I think he's fine it's fine until we can book up our ideas and maybe convince another player to join. He might actually be fine, and they'll be willing to pay more than half his wages. That's what I mean. We might be paying him about 120 to 150,000 a week, which is perfectly fine when we've got no fees to pay, we've got no transfer money to pay. I'm actually fine with it. I'm not saying I'm happy and I'm over the moon with this signing, but I'm actually kind of fine with it. He's perfect, experienced, big balls in the box, versatile and inexpensive. That's what I mean, Mikey. I feel like it. can work in our favour. At the end of the day, as a player, when he was at Man City, I was fine with it. His relationship with Arteta seems good as well. But at the same time, I'm not sitting here and saying that this is the dream signing. This is the signing I've wanted all along, because it isn't. But I can see the logic, how late we've left it. It's down to incompetence why we have to sign Raheem Sterling. But at the same time, he's experienced. He comes with a bag of experience of winning as well. It's not just experience of, just someone who has played in clubs in the Premier League. It's not an Ivan Toney situation. This is a bona fide winner who's won multiple Premier Leagues. So I'm actually kind of fine with this. Yeah, I am going to try and get your chats in. I am going to try and get all your chats in as well. So just bear with me.
Sorry, Souls. I had an office meeting call come in real quick. So I had to jump on the computer at the back there really quickly.
You see what I have to deal with? I host one show and I've got office duties and I've got daddy duties. You know what? I know how Mikel feels. I know how Mikel feels now when he jumps in.
But I want to say this about Raheem Sterling again. I don't like this deal, but we need someone. Sadly, this is where we're at the market. But what don't you like? I just feel like we need it. I feel like since we're building the way we built so far, we should be looking at the future, not his age. He's at the tail end of where he's tailing down. Yes, he's experienced. He's a bona fide winner. Yes, he's worked with Mikel Merino before. Those are all good traits. Those are the only things that are making me feel like, you know what, he's not a bad asset to have on the bench, to come off the bench and do something, right? That's the only thing that is making me feel that way. Outside that, a younger Raheem Sterling, somebody who may not have his experience, but is coachable to blend into the team properly, would have been my best option. But sadly, we don't have that right now. So here's the thing: if we're doing this deal, I ask myself again, can this player get us over the line in certain games that we need him to? Can he come on the pitch and make a difference in certain games? Right? If he can't, then there's no point getting him. But if he can, then fine. So we'll wait and see. I think that so far so good. We do have a first 11, fingers crossed, with no injuries, that can go on to compete and win. I think we have a first 11 that can go on to compete and win. What I don't think we have is depth. We don't have a lot of depth in our squad, and that's a dangerous thing to not have. You always need depth in your squad. And you need depth to the point where it's quality for quality. If you're taking out a Kai Havertz, then Victor Gyökeres should be coming in. Or if you're taking out a Gyökeres, a Kai Havertz should be coming in. If you're taking out a Bukayo Saka, a Gabriel Jesus should be going in there. If you're taking out a Leandro Trossard, it should be a Nico Williams coming out for Leandro Trossard to be coming in. That's the kind of quality that I'm talking about. But let's see. We'll see.
Let me just quickly get this. AMD again with a super chat. Thank you very much for that. I'll send $100 if you mod me. It's up to Igal. I don't have any controlling rights over mods, but I will definitely get your offer over to him, and I'm sure he'll make you a mod. But he'll see this because it's a super.
You want to mod?
Oh, he's here.
You want to mod AMD? You know what is about to happen when you mod AMD?
I don't know who AMD is. It's not my.
I don't know who he is, but he seems like AMD is a troublemaker that is ready to block people and just.
Hey, listen, I don't know when it is. I can't make this decision. I'm just Nikola Jova in this situation, fam. I'm just a set piece coach. I don't make decisions for the club. Igal, any responses whilst I've got you here? Oh, you're on mute.
Let's see if he's serious.
Well, I don't know what that means. Like I said, speak to.
Is he saying? Hold on, AMD. Are you saying that they should mod you first, and you send the $100, or will you send the $100 right now, then you get modded? Because when you buy a product, you have to pay for it before they give it to you. They don't let you walk out of the store with it.
But he does have to follow the rules still. That is a stipulation I have to put in there, because you can't just go block everyone and then he's the only chatter. But
we'll give you guys an update. Let's see what the updates are.
Oh, he said okay. I mean, it's up to Igal. Igal, do you agree first before he does it?
Yeah, I'll mod him.
Okay, there you go. If you send it, that's between you two now.
Yo, this kid's crying again. Oh my god.
That's daddy duties, man. Go.
Anyways, do you guys see this though? Do you guys want me to leave this up?
No, we've spoken in length
Personal terms
about it.
agreed.
Yeah, we've spoken about that.
Crazy.
One is the striker, the other
Oh,
is the
he's done
winger.
it. He's done it. Yeah, he's gonna have to mod you. Well, you got. Wait. 2 seconds.
He has
done
to mod
it.
him.
He has done it. But that's now between you two. Yeah, just before you go off stream again.
He's already a mod.
Oh wait, he's a mod then. Okay, cool. He's done. It's done. Here we land, or there we land. Here we go.
Here we go. AMD has now been modded. All terms agreed between Igal and AMD. The player is going to be doing his medicals very soon, and he's now going to become a mod on Igal Talks Football. Here we go, AMD. AMD to Igal Talks Football is done.
Hey, at least we made a signing. We made a signing.
We signed AMD right now.
Bukayo Saka stand. Let's go. But yeah, okay. As we kind of conclude the show, let's say in the final 10 minutes, do get your questions in because I will pop them in and obviously ask the panel as well. I'll ask Dio, or if it's directed at one of us, just put their names in. But please be respectful. I'm not going to put them in if you're going to call us names because it's kind of just a bit of a weird situation. But yeah, just be respectful. If you've got any critiques, then put them in there as well, and we will obviously debate those. But when it comes to we'll have to get a press conference and a shirt signing and everything, don't we? But yeah, the contract's been sent over and everything, right? So, but yeah, if you've got any of your questions for the final 10 minutes, do let us know. I've got Dio here, but yeah, talking on, well, how are you feeling now about? Let's just hypothetically say Sterling's through the door. Let's just say it is done. How do you feel about our chances of winning the league? Does it change the goalpost for you, or is it a case of that's not the signing that would have changed my mind?
Like I said earlier, I think our first 11, and for me, our first 11 would be Raya, Ben White, Calafiori, Saliba, Gabriel in defense. I would put in the midfield Rice, Merino, and Odegaard in the midfield. Right, and then up front, I would put Leandro Trossard, Bukayo Saka, and right now the only person we have is Kai Havertz. And I think, for me, that is a strong 11 to go on to win the league. We were just one game short of the league last season. People need to remember that we were not 7 points, 8 points like the season before, 5 points. We were literally 2 points away from winning the league last season. So this same squad can go on to win the league. The problem I have is injuries, which is part of football. Over 38 games, Champions League games, Carabao Cup games and FA Cup games, you are going to get injuries. We don't have a deep enough squad. That's where my big fear is. But
yeah, just quickly on Mike's question here. Unfortunately, the deadline for signing for this weekend would have been 5 p.m. So we have missed the registration process to get a player in for this weekend's game. But from the following games onwards, Raheem Sterling will be able to play, obviously, given that we do register the player. But that's the kind of little bit of the rulings on that one. But we do have a question here from Crypto Guna. Do get your questions in. We will be going on for another, let's say, 9 to 10 minutes. And then after that, we will be ending the show. But on his question, would you rather tie the next 2 league games and beat City, or win both the next league games and draw against City?
Look, if you let me go first, I would rather we win our next 2 league games and draw with City. And I'll tell you why. I'll give you my reasons why. I know there's going to be this bragging right about beating City, but I want to say this again. City has won the EPL, the Premiership multiple times, and in some of the times when they won it, and when Liverpool was there, the only person challenging them for that title, they didn't beat Liverpool home and away before they won the title. They didn't need to beat their rival, so we don't need to beat City to win. We need to win every other game that is in front of us. If we win 36 games out of 38. If we somehow do that by a miracle, it will take City winning 37 games out of 38, which is impossible because they would, if we tie with them in both games, we both draw points in those games. So they also have to win 36 games. That's the only way to get City to be broken. That's the only way to break City. So yeah, I would rather win my next 2 games because that's 3 points. That's 6 points, and I'll get a point off City. I would rather do that than get 2 points and then beat City. That gives me 5 points. I'd rather get 7 points than 5 points.
Yo, guys, I know you're gonna have to go in like 10 minutes. Instead of ending the stream, could one of you guys stay back just so when my wife comes here, I can take over?
Yeah, that's fine.
You're cool with that, Souls?
Yeah, sure. Should be able to for a bit.
My bad, guys. Honestly, I owe you guys. Yeah,
no. All right. So we have got another question from I can't pronounce it, but Alexander, right? Sorry. I don't want to butcher your name, but what happened for Arsenal signing Gyökeres? I don't think we were ever really in for him. I think we may have inquired and potentially even tried to put a bid in, but I don't think we were actually serious about signing him. Maybe it was a pivot to wanting to get a winger or a different profile of a player, but I don't actually know. I don't think we're ever going to get concrete reasons to why signings haven't happened. The only one that we do know is Ivan Toney, just because of how much has come out in the news about his attitude and the meetings that he's had with Arsenal haven't been great and positive. So the interactions there just weren't really positive for them. But I don't know if you've got any opinions, Dio.
Gyökeres thing, I'm going to say this. I know everybody was like, oh, this guy, scored 40 odd goals, blah, 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 last season. Great stuff. And he's an amazing striker. He's already started scoring this season. There were just too many rumors of, oh, he's 80 million. Oh, they 100 million. Oh, they reduced to 60 million. Oh, is this? Nobody knew the truth. Nobody knows whether they inquired and the club said, hey, pay us 120. Nobody knows what's going on with Gyökeres. The fact that even him, we didn't hear anything from his camp as regards to, Gyökeres likes this club or Gyökeres wants to move here, and the season starts in Portugal and he's already back training with his team and scoring goals, then hey, it is what it is with Gyökeres. I think he would have been a great signing for us, but I still maintain this fact that the person who I think would have been the best signing for us is Alexander Isak. I think if we had just dropped the money on Isak, would have been, I've said this in like over the last 20, 30, like the whole transfer window, I've been saying it. I said, key for me would have been do the business we need to do, take 120 million, right, and just go drop it on Isak as our forward, as our striker. Like, here you go, give me the guy, because that's who we wanted him a couple of seasons ago. We should have signed him. So but yeah, Gyökeres would have been a great signing, but nobody knew exactly what was going on.
Yeah, Mikey, I think we've addressed this and Dale's already spoken on this. Ethan will get more opportunities given that obviously we have, I wouldn't say depleted our squad, but we have obviously thinned in certain areas, like the Fabio Vieira minutes, the minutes that ESR did manage to get, they're all going to go to Ethan, especially cup ties, especially the fact that we're playing Bolton in the first round is going to give Ethan a few opportunities. It looks like we've lost Trossardino, but now we've got Trossardino too. But if Sterling gets 14 or the number 14, the game's done. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but Sterling will get the number 10. We'll have to wait and see if we've signed the player firstly. Before we know what number he's going to get, but he probably will get a 10 or a 14, which is what it is at this point. Euros kind of stalled. I wouldn't necessarily. What's your opinions on this? Because a lot of people obviously use the Euros and international tournaments as an excuse, but we haven't exactly done anything. We haven't signed a Euros player. So, what's your opinion?
We have. We signed a couple of Euros players.
Oh yeah, Calafiori and
Marino. Marino and Calafiori are Euro players. Yeah. So we did do something.
Like but we weren't like massive. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I take that back, man.
Yeah.
My head's gone. Head lost.
Head lost. Oh my days. I mean, like, here's my thing. Like I said, my criticism of what they've done is how they've gone about it. Terrible. They've done a bad job in going about it. But the signings that they have made and the team that we have as a first team and at least off the bench, look at the bench now, right? If you played Kai Havertz up front, Bukayo Saka left wing, Leandro Trossard on the left, and you played Rice, Odegaard, and Partey in midfield, for example, and in defense you played Timber, you played Gabriel, Ben White, and you played Saliba and Raya in goal. Do you know who's coming off the bench for defense? You've got Calafiori coming off the bench. You've got Gabriel Jesus coming off the bench. You've got Martinelli, who's for right now not playing very well, but that's who you have coming off the bench. So we may have thinned, but the players coming off the bench, I think, are better quality than the players we had from last season. So yeah.
Raheem Sterling to Arsenal loan is being looks like a real possibility. The winger is no longer part of Chelsea's plan and is keen on moving to the Gunners.
It's not even that update. Fabrizio's updated as well to say that terms have been agreed with the player.
Okay, so this deal's gonna happen, guys.
It looks like it'll be done, yeah. The more it's getting closer to happening, the more excited I'm actually getting about the signing. I know I'm stupid. I get it. I fall into the PR. I don't care.
You know what? I'm still not happy with Edu though.
Edu got to go, fam. Edu had to go a long time ago.
Edu promised us that he would, by the end of the window, have patience. You won't be disappointed.
Can we leave this? Edu? Let's look at the squad again, because this is what I'm tired of.
Bro, he said this to us.
Igal, I heard him.
I'm still disappointed.
Igal, you're disappointed. I'm disappointed. Everybody's disappointed. My point is, let's look at the squad again. Can we break down the squad? Can you give me your first 11 and then look at what you have on the bench coming off the bench? If you needed to bring players off the bench, you're not bringing Eddie Nketiah off the bench this time around. If you're playing Champions League, right? That's not who's coming off the bench this season. We're not bringing ESR, who with his injury, amazing player, but with his injury off the bench this season. It's not a Fabio Vieira coming in this season off the bench. Yeah. If you wanted to change, move Rice from an 8 position and drop him in the 6 and take out Thomas Partey, you're bringing in the Merino into the 8.
You're not on stream, by the way. I don't know if that's deliberately or.
So for me, what I'm saying is, like, we've thinned out the squad, but what we have on the bench is more quality, and we now have a couple of youngsters that a lot of us believe in. A lot of us believe in those youngsters, so let's not come here and act like we don't believe in them, because I've seen all the noise you make about Ethan Nwaneri and Miles Lewis-Kelly, and these guys have to play, and they need to give them time.
But do you not think it's negligent, though, from Edu for what he has done? Because he has left us light once again. My question is, left us light in the striking position, which is the only position that I can say I honestly am mad at. You don't think overall attackers is a bit light, though? I know what you're going to say, Reece Nelson for Saka, and then you're going to say
no, not Reece Nelson for Saka. Like I said it again, if we got a striker, then that would be a Kai Havertz and the striker up front for me. Then it will be Gabriel Jesus on the right with Bukayo Saka, and on the left will be Leandro Trossard and Martinelli. But remember, our players can play across the front three. Gabriel Jesus can play on the left as well. Leandro Trossard can play on the right as well. So we have a mix and match of players who we literally can throw left and right.
Yeah, but it's the same numbers. Even though they can play those different positions, the numbers don't change.
I know, but we'll say you can't have more than your 7, 8. Like what? What are we? How many strikers do we want to have? 9? Right now,
I'm not saying a striker. I think we need more wingers. I think we need a winger at least.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We already have wingers that can play both sides. It's just that we're not playing. Gabriel Jesus is not a 9.
Gabriel Jesus is injured, so now we take him out of this for the time being, right? We've got Havertz, we've got Reece Nelson, Trossard, Martinelli, and Saka. So we've got 5 players who can play. 3 of them have to play, so then we're left with 2 that can rotate with these. So that's where I think.
Yeah, but those two can play. Those 2 can play left and right. Reece Nelson plays left and right as well. But so if Nelson leaves, then fine, that's another thing. But if Nelson is dead, I'm not saying he's good enough. Don't get me wrong. I don't want people to think that I'm.
No. Let's take the quality away from it. Let's just talk numbers.
Let's just talk numbers here. So he can play left and right. Leandro Trossard can play left and right. Martinelli, we've seen in the last season that he can play left, and sometimes we played him on the right. We've seen this happen in a couple of games. So we do have players that are interchangeable, and I think that is just the player management and using them. So if there's an injury, rest Bukayo Saka, play this person on the right. If you bring in a Raheem Sterling as well, he's a player that can play on the left and on the right. We've seen this. So the point is, interchangeability is a big thing for me as regards to that's what we have, and if that's what we have, then we have to work well with it. We basically have to find a way to be able to use it to be the most optimal thing. And if you use it right and it's optimal, you look better than other teams. Our defense that we're making noise about last season is not because Saliba and Gabriel are literally like a beast and a monster. It's the fact that they complete each other in how they defend. Like, honestly speaking, those 2 together just work together, and it makes them look phenomenal. But we've seen Gabriel Magalhaes make some blunders, but we see the cover from Saliba, and it's all of a sudden it doesn't look like a bad blunder anymore. We've seen Saliba where he needs a little bit of a backup. Gabriel is the one that has gone forward to stop the player before he gets to, so this is what I'm talking about here. It's actually making the team needs to look like what Mikel Arteta needs to do is, I think Arsenal fans want us to have this superstar, like we need just win, but I think we can win as a team solidly. We're not a bad team. We were one game away from winning last season.
But you know something? I was worried. I was really worried because earlier today when I looked at our roster, when I looked at our team, we only had Martinelli, Havertz, Saka, Trossard, Jesus, and Nelson. And Jesus is injured. We don't even trust Nelson, and he might get loaned out himself. So at least with Sterling, we now have somebody who can play across the front three, who can come in and has a little bit of experience in the Premier League and has won things.
I hear that. Like I said, for me, the key thing is if Mikel Arteta wins a trophy or two this season, all this noise that people are like, oh, you didn't sign the striker, you didn't sign this, you didn't sign that. I want to see the same energy when he does win something, right? I want to see that same energy that you all have, where you're all like, blah, blah. I want that same energy level if he wins something. And the word is if he wins something. Do I think that our first 11 is strong enough to win a trophy this season? Yes, I do. I think our first 11, and we don't pitch. Let's not do this pigeonholing players into positions. Arsenal doesn't do that because you can see
first 11. What if an injury happened? Then what?
That's why I said for me. Remember, I said so that a striker would come in and bolster that front line. I need a striker up front, and that way I can.
I think this is what the point that like a lot of the chat are asking someone like yourself who. For you, is it not negligent? Because, like we've said, if one injury happens, our confidence depletes a little bit. Or is that not the case for you, Daya?
It's definitely negligent.
When you say negligence, the players that we really wanted,
bro, we've dealt with this.
Can I ask you a question? Let me ask you a question. Which players did you want this transfer window? And can you tell me, like the particular player that you wanted, Igal, like the person that you wanted that Arsenal were not able to get?
I wanted Arsenal to show that they've improved in the transfer window, and we've had direct targets, and we're able to make player sales. I'm happy with some of the player sales, but after Ramsdale left, we showed a little bit of disorganization. We didn't actually know.
I'm asking you, can you tell me what player you wanted from the beginning of the transfer window? What player did you say? I'll tell you the player that I wanted, but I knew we could not get him. I wanted Alexander Isak, and I knew we could not get him. So I was like, you know what? For me, this transfer window was all about if we don't get Alexander Isak, I don't care.
I'm happy with Calafiori. I'm happy with Mikel Merino. I'm not happy with the fact that we are on the final day, the final hours, trying to loan Raheem Sterling. We had all summer where we could have convinced Nico Williams. We had all summer where we could have convinced another attacker to join.
But what makes you think? What makes you think they were not? Hold on. What makes you think they were not
all year to prepare for the window?
Igal, what makes you think they were not talking?
Like on the final day, we did not know the actual valuation for the Ramsdale backup in Joao Garcia. We did not actually have.
We knew
they changed the price. Igal, they changed the price. They knew.
No, they did not change the price. That was the release clause.
They wanted the release clause.
We had spoken to them about doing the deal. They said yes, and then when we finally saw Ramsdale, they were like, "Oh, we just want the release clause now." They changed the deal on us.
How about this? How about the Neto deal? We now have Neto, who's cup tied in the Carabao Cup.
So look. So what are you saying? We should not have gone to get somebody else? But hold on, Igal,
no, we should go for somebody else. But
Igal, but here's my point, though. You can only go for what is
the way that we've done this window, Deo, as positive as we can be. Let's be honest. At this moment in time, we have resorted back to our old ways. I thought last year and early in this window, I thought we were improving. I thought we were starting to see a new Arsenal where we spend 100 million, where we get our signings in before the season starts, where we have backup plans. When we miss out on a player, we have a backup plan. We got Trossard. We miss out on another player, we have a backup plan in Tomiyasu. I thought we were doing things, but right now, this window has showed me nothing's changed. When it came down to it, they started panicking, and they're now going for whatever they can get.
The way you're phrasing it is totally.
It's the honest truth.
No. Igal, the reality is the market stinks this season. The reality is we've looked at this market.
The market stinks. We could have got Pedro Neto.
Listen. The reality is the same fans who call Pedro Neto injury prone, and when Chelsea got him, he's injury prone. We don't want him. Are the same fans who are now saying we could have got him. So why are we playing ball like tennis here. One minute the player is injury prone. The next minute we would have taken him.
If this was another club, if this was another club, you would call it as it is.
No. But again, I've already called it as it is with Arsenal. I said, you wasted time in doing your signings. The only thing I can applaud you for is that you strengthened where you were strong already. I asked that you bring in a striker. I don't care what other position you care about. The only striker
from
that
day one, they said they never wanted a striker.
And listen, I said this from the beginning of transfer window that the only striker that I really wanted to see at Arsenal was Alexander Isak. If they don't get me Isak, I don't care about the window anymore. To me, they have failed basically for not getting Isak. But we could not get Isak. I knew we could not get Isak, so I have hands off the transfer for this window. Like, I'm not getting the player that I think can get us over the line. Now, have you added more to the squad for me to look at it and say, well, off the bench, we have better players than what we had last season? Yes. Have we added more? I think we have better players off the bench than we had from last season. We don't have ESR, who I rate very much, but didn't get a lot of game time. But we're not bringing Eddie off the bench anymore this season. Probably the only person is Nelson. If he still stays, there's 4 clubs going after him. We don't know what happened, right? But my point is, if you're looking at the bench now, you have a, Calafiori coming off the bench. You have a Merino coming off the bench. You have a Gabriel Jesus coming off the bench. You have a Martinelli coming off the bench. You have as much as people don't rate him, as Zinchenko as the last person probably coming off the bench. Those are 5 players that I can point at and say still have a level of talent. If Raheem Sterling comes into the team, you have a Raheem Sterling number 6 coming off the bench. So this idea that our bench is no longer stronger than it was last season is a fallacy. It is actually stronger. It is stronger than last season. Now, the question is, can the first 11 that we have go out there and do the business? Can we do that business, score a goal, defend? I don't care how good we look out there. I'm not interested in that this season. Go out there, score your goal, defend. Do what we need to do to make sure that we win our 3 points in every game and win something. So this idea that if we don't have a striker, it's not possible is nonsense. We scored 91 goals last season. City scored 95 goals. We're 4 goals short of them. So let's stop this nonsense about, we didn't score last season. And then people are going to come and lie again and say, you scored majority of your goals from January to March or January to April. Yes, it's true. We scored a bunch of goals then. But what about from August to December? We only lost 2 games. Did we not score in all those games we won? Of course we did. So what are we talking about? We scored from August to December as well. We may not have been scoring high volume goals, but we scored. And so this idea that without a striker, it is impossible. It only makes it more difficult. It's not impossible. It only makes it more difficult. That's how I look at it. And it's not optimism. It's being realistic. This team is good enough to go on to win if they do what they need to do. If we stay injury free and we rely on what we're good at, which is our defense, we can score from set pieces more than any other team. And people are going to say, well, you want to rely on set pieces. It's part of the game. After all, Cole Palmer scored a lot of penalties last season, but it's counted as part of his GA. Nobody's removing that from him. So let's stop this. Let's stop this revisionist thing and rhetorics that we do about our club and say, oh, well, set piece. There's 15 goals from our defenders last season. That's contribution from the defense alone. How many clubs can boast of that? I'm not saying that it's the best for us, but this is where we found ourselves. We might as well make the best of it and go on to win something with it. That's all I care about.
Deo, I hear you, but I'm just going to ask you a simple question. Do you think the way that we dealt with the transfer window this season has been a little bit like not the way that we dealt with it the year before and the year before that? We kind of are mucking around. We don't seem like we know exactly what we want to do. That's my point. I hear your point about as long as we get the job done, we're going to be happy at the end of the day, and we're not going to look at
the window was lackadaisical, legal. I don't like this window, but here's what I'm saying. I've looked at the window. Just because I don't like the way you handle the window, which I've criticized already, I'm now not going to sit down and look at the team and say, oh, well, it's useless. We don't win nothing. I need to obviously now be more realistic and say, okay, well, this is how you handle the window. This is what we have on ground. Let's look at what we have as a squad. If I put an 11 out there that I think can do the business and they're not getting the business done, and I look at my bench, are there players that can come off the bench and make a difference? Can I bring
if we get Sterling, we do have more players that can come off the bench.
So my thing again is, do we have enough on the squad this season to go forward and win every game that we need to win? Because we need to obviously be dynamic with every team that we're playing, know which teams we're playing, play them according to their weaknesses so that we can win the games and just move on. Because I know how disappointed I am at the window, and I know I'm disappointed at the fact that it looks like they're not going to get a striker, right? And
they've never wanted a striker.
I agree, Gal, but I'm saying I'm already disappointed at that. Okay, so now let me look at what we have. Our front line are a bunch of players who can interplay amongst themselves.
I was going to add Ahmed because he's a Chelsea fan, and I just wanted to know his thoughts on the whole Raheem Sterling thing. Deo, do you want to stay for this, or you got to go?
I'll stay for a few minutes because it's Ahmed. I know he's here to chat some nonsense.
Ahmed,
let me just...
how do you feel about Raheem Sterling?
First things first, big up, guys. Listen, I'm doing good. Slightly stressed, right now, obviously, with the styling of the Osimhen and the Sanchez stuff. Hopefully, we can get this through the line right now. No, nothing's happening as of yet. But I just want to say, listen, the styling stuff, bro, it kind of screams like a panic buy because you've come back in here at 5 p.m. and this is not even me discussing whether or not even the players even good or not. I don't know about you guys, right? It seems like a panic buy. You couldn't find someone in the market. Now, in regards to Sterling, maybe he'll work in the sense that he works with Arteta and stuff like that. But let's be realistic, guys. At the same time, at Chelsea, he's been very inconsistent. And maybe that may come into the fact with Arsenal too. So listen, it's not looking. I'll be honest,
Ahmed,
bro, I'm very.
Ahmed, can I ask you a question? Who do you think is better, Reece Nelson or Raheem Sterling?
Oh, I would say Raheem Sterling for sure, bro. I would say Raheem Sterling for sure.
So, and does Arsenal need a body in attack? Do we need a body at this point? Because think about it. At this point, at this stage of the window, we've sold Eddie Nketiah. Teams are asking for Reece Nelson. He might leave before the end of the window. Do we need a body in there? We do. So if there's nobody else available, and then there's a player who has worked with Arteta before, who's won the Premiership 4 times, has played in the 3 of the top teams across England, 29 years old with a lot of experience, is that a terrible option as a backup? No, it's not. So it might be a panic buy. But hold on, it might be a panic buy, but it's not a panic buy that is rubbish.
No, but again, listen, we can say there's good panic buys and bad panic buys. Okay, that's I don't really feel like there's any problem with me saying that. But the reality is, bro, you came in to this guy at 7 p.m. GMT apparently, because I was literally reporting on it when it happened live. 7 p.m. Whether you want to admit or not, my brother, it's still a panic buy, bro.
But you have to realize,
it could turn out. It could be but the point I'm trying to make to you, Dai, it could be a good signing for you, bro. I'm saying it could be a good signing for you, bro. But realistic, yeah. So I'm not even.
Can I ask you a question? When were they supposed to go in for him? It's not like 2 weeks ago. Raheem Sterling was on the market. So you guys literally just phased him out last weekend at the game, and that's when he started talking.
2 weeks he's been on the market, bro.
Hold on. Up until and immediately he was on the market. There was links between Arsenal and him. If you remember, there was already talks immediately. Now the question was, were you guys going to let him go terminate his contract? As in, was he going to go on loan and take a pay reduction? But these are questions that clubs were asking because they're like, listen, you guys want to phase him out and you still want money for him. Nobody wants to spend that kind of money on Raheem Sterling. So you're going to wait for the opportunity. So you might call it a panic buy. I call it an opportunistic buy. We see an opportunity with a player that regardless that I don't want him, but I'll say this, he has the experience. And so, hey.
Listen, at the end of the day, listen, you can spin it any other way you want to, my brother. It's still a panic buy, brother. Listen, it can be good for you. It can be better than Reece Nelson, etc., etc. Now, I will say for you, you will definitely provide for you at the very least 15 GNA. I actually think it will provide for you some goals, some assists. I think maybe in the system, maybe he does what he does under Pep for you
guys.
Bro,
at this point, you have to understand, we'll take anything.
Yeah, that's okay. Then if that's the case, then
at the same time, you guys would do anything to get rid of him because he's on big wages.
They're getting Sancho. That's
here's what I'm even saying, Miguel. Forget the
bro. I've got some breaking news for you. Actually, some breaking news. Fabrizio Romano just reported right now. There's a domino going on. Sterling, Arsenal, Sancho, Chelsea, Nelson, Reece Nelson to leave Arsenal. So. It's actually so you're losing even the body that you're claiming that he's gonna be there to
that's the reason why we're getting.
No. Again, you're not getting my point, and I'm just trying to make the point that you were saying to me. Obviously, he's better than Reece Nelson, which is fair enough. But I thought Reece Nelson was still gonna stay there to be a body for you, bro.
No, but that's the point, though. Listen,
damn. Nelson's good to Ipswich Town, apparently.
Is it West Ham or Ipswich?
Nelson's good to Ipswich Town, apparently. Abdi Has, my guy, is really reliable. He's telling me he's going to Ipswich Town, bro.
Shit. Yeah. Fabrizio just tweeted it.
Fabrizio just tweeted, yeah.
let's hear from Martin before you guys go.
Sorry, Ahmed again. You say.
Okay.
You know what, Dio? Listen, Dio, I actually have to leave because obviously I've got my other stream going on right now.
He's a busy man. He's got a suit on. He's ready to go.
Listen, I tried to, just to impress for today, but listen, tomorrow we'll discuss it probably on obviously Rivals Rumble. But what I'm just the point I'm trying to make, I don't think you could have gotten better than Sterling. I'm pretty sure all of us here would agree on some level you could have gotten better than Sterling, right? I'm pretty sure all of us could agree here. Like if you'd actually done some level of scouting, you could have gotten someone a little bit better than what you got for Sterling, bro. No?
Yeah, and you could have got someone better than Sancho. We're all doing
exactly, of course, bro. No, I will 100% agree with that, bro.
You guys can keep Sterling and keep paying him on his wages since you've exiled him.
Hey, chill. Listen, no, listen. Before I finish,
you want to tell me the panic buy so that it's convenient for you? No, just keep him and pay his wages.
Tranquilo, big man. No, rest.
All right.
You know what? To Martin. Yeah, I'm gonna just make one more comment before I leave. Obviously, to all of you guys, big up to you. Hopefully, you have get Sterling. But on a serious note, obviously, enjoy Sterling. I will be one thing I will say in general, as being honest to you guys, he's gonna be frustrating. So as long as you kind of understand that, I think you'll be okay with Raheem Sterling, in my personal opinion. Honestly, all right. Take care, bro.
Get out of here.
All right, bro. Take care, man.
See ya.
We have a lot more patience than Chelsea fans. Martin, talk to me. How you feeling?
It's two feelings. It's disappointment that we have not maximized our window. And then there's like a better than nothing feeling that comes from Sterling. Like, Sterling is a good player. Agendas aside, jokes aside, he's still a good player. He was unfortunate to be left out of the England squad. I think he's still one of the best English players at high level, big games, that kind of stuff. He's not what I wanted because it doesn't feel like a signing for the future, like maximizing this kind of opportunity we had. I felt like we needed a striker and a winger, and to end up just with Raheem Sterling is a little bit of a disappointment. I'll be honest, and I don't know if I want to do another Chelsea rehabilitation program like we did with Havertz, which took about 6 to 9 months. But here we are. So maybe it'll turn out to be a good deal for us. The only positive I can find is that it seems to rattle City fans. They seem to have held on to some kind of nostalgic Sterling's still a good player, even though he's at Chelsea.
No,
but
City fans are basically saying he's a City legend, but he's going to every club.
Well, I heard from Vader yesterday that if he joins Arsenal and Man U, then he's basically dead to them. So they've been holding on.
He told me he doesn't want him to join Arsenal because he thinks he's going to do really good for us.
Well, there's that. We can get some kind of positives out of that, but I'm not really feeling very positive today. The Merino injured news, kind of like on top of not getting anyone, just feels like we've got Calafiori and another Chelsea reject. It's going to be see you there. It's going to be a hard one for us to really swallow. And half of the fan base is already out there doing PR for Sterling, saying he's a great guy and all this kind of stuff. It's a little bit too much too soon.
100% it's opium.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I haven't even spoke about some of the stuff. The Mikel Merino injury itself, that is crazy. What's our luck? The guy comes first training session, gets injured. Like
Big Gabby lands on him or something like that. Like, what's going on? I think they were probably trying to lay down a marker on him, but yeah, big guy, 6'2", no injuries like that, and then all of a sudden injured as soon as it's training. So hopefully it's not a long one, and we can.
Shoulder injury is not a joke either. So Kia reported that yesterday he collided and had a shoulder injury, and he fractured his shoulder in training. How much force do you need to fracture your shoulder? What the hell?
There's a lot of different bones around there. I don't know which one's which. To be honest,
but if we're getting rid of Raheem Sterling, we're bringing in Reece Nelson, and I mean, if we're bringing in Raheem Sterling, we're getting rid of Reece Nelson. Are we really in the same position, or do you think we're in a much better position right now?
I feel like we've still gone backwards. We lost ESR, Vieira, and Nketiah. I think is not confirmed yet, but I think he's still going. So there's three potentials there. I mean, we've gained an experienced player that we can call on in big matches, but he's still going to be frustrating. He's still. I mean, I've been watching Sterling since he was at Liverpool. He was he was a joke. He couldn't finish, but he could do everything but finish. he went to City for a while, and when Arteta was there, actually, ironically, he was actually kind of good. But I still see him as a huge, big chances missed merchant, and we've already got a few of those in the team. So hopefully this doesn't come back to bite us, because it feels like it was a big opportunity to buy someone who would have really like united the fan base in some kind of like legitimate excitement. Now we've got to try and rationalize, leftovers.
You know what? There's too many people that are negative that are just saying at this point that they've given up. They've given up on the window. The window's not closed. We still have 3 hours. What is it? 2 hours? Martin, I thought at least we were going to get Raheem Sterling and a goalkeeper. What do you think about Neto also?
I was all right with it until I saw that he was cup tied for the Carabao. I'm not quite sure the point if he's not really going to play, but yeah, being cup tied for the Carabao.
Just in case.
What's that?
The whole point is to have him just in case. Basically, the Carabao Cup, we can play Stretford or somebody like that.
Yeah, is Stretford the one, the Ajax kid that we got? Or is that a different one? Yeah. I mean, we can play someone. I don't really want to spend 20, 30 million on some guy from the Segunda division. And, that Joe and Garcia guy, I wasn't really convinced that that was a good idea. So
we can get him for 15 million next year after he gets relegated.
Yeah, but the saving money aspect doesn't really matter if we're not spending that money on something that we should. I feel like we haven't spent money at all this transfer window. I think we've sold more than we've spent, which is kind of crazy considering we just got $100 million worth of Champions League money. But maybe it's a consolidation year where we have to pay for the previous 5 seasons where we have spent a lot of money. I think we went out, got Rice and all that kind of stuff last year. So maybe we have to cut spending a little bit to fit within things, but I hadn't heard PSR issues. So if we've just got the money and we're sitting on it, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like Tony was 40 million, who's gone to Saudi now or something, who's going to go to Saudi. There's options out there which are not that expensive. Like even the Skov Olsen kid from the Danish kid from Bruges, like
we were linked to, yeah.
I would have loved something like that. Just a new player, like something to really like sink our teeth into.
Fabrizio just gave us an update. David Onstein saying Ipswich Town are working on a deal for Reece Nelson. Ipswich Town very close to securing an agreement. That means 100% Raheem Sterling basically coming in. The chance to depart helped the potential of the Raheem Sterling deal. I think this is all happening because Raheem Sterling is going to be getting close to the wages that he's getting at Chelsea.
I mean, I can't see us paying anywhere near 300 for him. Maybe the 200, 250 range is probably what.
But then why would we move Reece Nelson last minute? It has to be connected to the Raheem Sterling.
Well, he's not going to get any minutes. I don't think if people don't get injured, even Raheem Sterling would probably not start for us. I think it would probably be a off the bench for Saka or off the bench for. I mean, Martinelli and Trossard probably got that locked down. So.
I think a lot of people would say he would. I think some people would even argue that he could push his way into the starting 11.
He could, yeah, but right off the bat, I don't see it. I feel like Trossard probably is going to be earmarked as the second striker option.
No option, no obligation to buy. Bro, you're a relatively positive fan, right? Like me. Or should I say logical fan? Do you agree that this window has been complete lack of competence?
I wouldn't say that. I think that the Calafiori and Merino deals were quite smart. They're quite shrewd. They were good value for money. They were ahead of the market, and there were 2 good performers from the Euros that we had scouted and potentially lined up before they even did that good Euros performance. So that is good business. But we're so desperate for an attacker or a striker or a winger, it doesn't even seem to like touch the sides. You know what I mean? So we're just starving in that sense, and unless we get that kind of feeling like a Gyökeres or something, we wanted to get like a 30-goal a season striker. So anything less than that is going to feel like a massive disappointment. So, people could like to give scores for transfer windows. I don't really see the point because it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. If you win the transfer window, you end up having a crap season. So it tends to happen to Spurs. So, 5 out of 10 setting so far, and that's including Sterling.
5 out of 10. Yeah, including Sterling, I'll give it a 5. But I think overall this window has been quite poor. And the goalkeeper situation, I get we save money on Ramsdale's wages, but overall that itself wasn't done properly, because we kept speaking about Joao Garcia, and at the end we find out Joao Garcia is going to cost us 30 million. We should have at least known the price of the player before we tipped him as the backup.
There's an issue with the backup goalkeeper. It's such a weird signing. You want to sign someone that's good but not that good, or someone that's going to be good in a few years. So eventually,
the Joao Garcia guy next year, he could be like Ortega 2.0.
Well, Raya's just got his feet in the door, so we're potentially destabilizing if we bring him someone for 25 million that suddenly has to like start getting game time. So I see that as kind of like,
disrupt Ederson.
You saw Ederson was not very happy at the start of the season. He was talking about leaving. He wasn't loved anymore because people were talking about Ortega replacing him. It's potentially a headache that we don't want to deal with again after having that with Ramsdale and Raya. But I don't really know. The point is, we needed a left 8. Everyone knew we needed a left 8, and I think we've probably got the best replacement for Xhaka that we could find in the market. So I think that's a really good signing. We won't know until later, obviously, now that he's injured, but I think Calafiori is going to be a next-level defender for us on the left-back side, even better than Timber defensively, I believe. So that's going to be important to us. So if we can win 1-0 to the Arsenal all season, look, that's what we're going to have to do. If we're not going to be scoring a whole bunch of goals, set pieces and defending our way to the title, I'll take it.
You know what, bro? This transfer window is going to go down to the wire. It's going to go down to the wire. It looks like Osimhen's staying at Napoli.
I heard that rumor. One sec, I'll be back.
Staying in Napoli. But the Osimhen deal doesn't affect them with the Sterling deal. They want Sterling out. They don't care. You know, it would be funny if Sterling basically wins us. He can't play against Chelsea, obviously, but he could help us in every other game against the Premier League, the rest of the Premier League. So Raheem Sterling, as much as we look down on the potential of signing Raheem Sterling originally, this could work out massively for Arsenal, ladies and gentlemen. This could work out massively for Arsenal. Raheem Sterling is now waiting for the green light to undergo his medical at Arsenal. Interesting times. Very interesting times, to say the least. We're going to have to wait and see what happens with Reece Nelson, as Reece Nelson looks like he's on his way out. We already know Raheem Sterling is on his way to Arsenal. We've seen Sancho is headed from Manchester United to Chelsea. Mikel Merino's got some sort of injury. Today, it's safe to say it's been absolute carnage. Absolute carnage all over the place. Absolute carnage all over the place. Everything that's going on, we're gonna try to keep you guys updated. But right now, I'm just like, at least we're getting somebody in. At least we're getting somebody in. How does everybody else feel? Osimhen deal still stalled because Chelsea can't agree the wages, about 100K gap. And here comes Arsenal to save the day. Oh, really? So because we're going to sign Raheem Sterling on loan, we're saving you guys to let you guys sign Victor Osimhen. That could be an interesting domino. I never thought about that. Interesting. Arsenal technically helping you to sign Raheem Sterling. You know, I never thought about that. I thought we don't really care about what you guys do. We just need more squad depth. So that's why we're trying to get Raheem Sterling. By the way, Arsenal 45 seconds ago, Arsenal just announced Neto's official signing. Neto's official signing has just been announced. Yeah, welcome Neto to Arsenal. Welcome Neto to Arsenal. Welcome to Arsenal, Neto. Please get there. We go. We just need to hope and pray. There we go. We just need to hope and pray that gets done at this moment in time. Another clean sheet tomorrow. You know what? I'm not even thinking about the Brighton game. I haven't even spoken to anybody about the Brighton game. Martin, you concerned about Brighton? Because I think we're going to beat Brighton. We have a relatively healthy team right now. Mikel Merino obviously is not going to be available for a couple weeks, but I don't think we're going to miss him necessarily versus Brighton. Raheem Sterling is not going to be featuring tomorrow either. So
I think they're going to be a little bit tricky, but I'm expecting a clean sheet and a couple of goals at least. Again, I think that
2-0 like last year.
maybe even more. I feel like that we might have Brighton's number a little bit more recently. I think we've won 3 out of the last 4 against them. And new manager, he seems like a smart guy, but I have a feeling he might get a little bit outwitted by Arteta in this particular situation. We're fairly familiar with their threats, and I'm keen to keep the run of clean sheets going. So if we can do that, I expect us to take a couple of our chances, maybe a set piece and a Havertz goal or something like that. And take the 3 points and go into the international break still fighting over whether Sterling's a good player or not.
Neto's a decent backup. I would take Raheem Sterling all day as a Saka backup, and Jesus. Brighton will be what?
Dicey.
Oh, and then be up at 6:30 a.m. Yes, it's early for you over there in the States, man. Better than Gallas. Yeah, you know what? Raheem Sterling is not going to be nothing like Gallas or Willian. Worst case scenario, Raheem Sterling is a player who we throw out there in the cup competitions when we want to rest Saka and like some of our starters. Best case scenario, he pushes for that starting spot and produces 10 plus GA. I mean 10 plus 20 plus GA all comps. I think that's a good minimum. What do you think?
We know that Sterling and Arteta have worked together before, so I have a feeling it's probably going to be fairly successful. That they know how each other works, all that kind of stuff. We seem to be building these relationships. Like Merino, for example, had played with Odegaard for several years. For 1 season at Sociedad, and they had like a relationship going. So he's all about these connections and stuff like that. Sterling probably fits with the whole family vibe. Like once I cool down about it, I'll probably be more supportive of the concept. But right now, it still just feels disappointing.
At this moment in time, we can't. Beggars can't be choosers. I feel that's how I feel.
But we're not beggars. We shouldn't be beggars. That's why it's annoying. Just 1 sec. 1 sec. Sorry.
We currently are beggars based on how we're moving in the transfer window. It feels like we're beggars. You know what I mean? Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, people in the chat, let me know. Yeah, what Mike saying, well said, Martin. You know what? Some people agreeing with Martin, some people agreeing with me. What about his car? I mean, Sterling. What about his car? What the hell?
Sorry.
How excited? I can't be excited about the Raheem Sterling signing. I'm just happy that we got somebody in. I don't know about you guys. I'm not excited.
But my point about us being not beggars is that we shouldn't be in this situation. I know maybe we were trying to like wait till the last day to see what pieces we could move around, but all our other signings have been well thought out, and this one seems just like haphazard, you know, desperation settings. Sorry, my daughter's having some issues here.
No worries. Iga, we are about to let Nelson go to make 0 sense. Well, Nelson was not part of the plans, clearly. That's why I think it makes sense. Nelson was not part of the plans. Guys, Martinelli got lots of minutes last year. Raheem, what do you call it? Havertz got a lot of minutes last year. Saka got a lot of minutes last year. Trossard got a lot of minutes last year. Jesus got a lot of minutes last year. Reece Nelson last season barely got any minutes.
I like Reece, but he's
how many
not,
minutes
he's
he
not
got.
trusted.
Are we really missing anything when we let Reece Nelson leave? Or is that harsh? Or because I think that's the honest reality. Last season he barely played.
He's not developed into a difference maker in the very big games. So besides that Bournemouth one,
he played 2
we
minutes.
need someone who's going to play against Bayern or something like that.
Yeah, he played 2 minutes versus Aston Villa. And last season, the whole entire season, he played 257 minutes in the Premier League. He played a total of 5 games in the Champions League. And he played a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 games in the league. He played 15 games in the league. And every single one of them, bar one, was a start. I mean, every single one of them, bar one, was coming off the bench.
So,
The only one where he started was Luton at home late in the season. You remember that game? 2-0 victory. Saka didn't play, I don't think.
yeah. I mean, when we called on him, I've been a big fan of Reece. I just thought that we don't really have enough time to develop him. We don't have those games anymore, which don't matter. Every game is a must win, so he doesn't really get those kind of chances. But
bro, we
Sterling's
beat Lens 6-0. He only got 24 minutes. The game that he started in the Champions League last year, we drew.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that was because of him. I think he had some good performances
he did good.
in the Champions League.
He got us to assist.
Yeah. I think he had a good one for Eddie. He's a good player. I think he'll do well at a lower club. I think if he gets that Ipswich or a Newcastle or West Ham, whatever, I think he'll show people what he's capable of. But we just don't think it's of the level that we need as a title challenging team.
Yo, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna come back to this after the window closes. You're gonna be about around 11?
Yeah, I'll be around. I just realized the Arsenal game's at 4:30 in the morning tomorrow, so it's gonna be one of those.
It's gonna be one of those nights, right? I got work at 6 a.m. myself, so I'm gonna probably be doing this all night and then ending up coming back to it. But big up to everyone in the chat. I just want to say we're gonna try to keep everybody posted, and get them up to date. Are you gonna go on Saeed's channel?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't think
Saad,
so.
I mean.
What's that?
Saad,
no, I'll be on Mo's tomorrow after the game, but is Saad on right now? I think he's probably having a rant of his own.
Yeah, he's probably going in right now. At this moment in time, man, I kind of feel a little stress-free. I was so worried that we were not going to get anybody in.
Well, it seems gross negligence to not sign anyone after letting all these people go. We can't go into the season. We can't go into the season with
There was no way in hell we were going to let the window close without us. What do you call it? Bringing in somebody. There was no way in hell. That was just never going to happen.
I hope so, because some heads would roll.
No, I hear it. Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up here. Big up everyone in the comment section. I'm going to catch you guys after the window closes to recap everything that's done. Hopefully we do get Raheem Sterling over the line, and I'll be back tomorrow after all the games to review the Premier League match. So there's 2 more videos. Stay tuned. For now, big up to all the support, especially AMD with the massive £100 super chat and all the other super chats that he submitted today. So I really do appreciate him for the support today. And please do hit the like button on the video, guys. We'll be back with more transfer deadline day specials. We'll be back. Peace.